Welcome to ET Auto. I'm Chanchal Pal Chauhan, the features editor with the Economic Times Auto. Today, we are very privileged to have Martin Murray, the Chief Technology Officer with Mahindra Electric. Welcome to ET Auto, Martin.
Chanchal, it's nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sparing your time. Today, we plan to spend a lot of time in terms of discussing how the connected vehicle landscape is changing. And the rich experience, the global experience you have, Martin, across companies, countries, and different landscapes is something that India is looking forward to harness, especially when we are taking a big leap in new generation vehicles. So the floor is open, Martin, and we want to kind of keenly listen to your rich experience, your global experience, expertise in connected vehicles, the new technology. And thank you so much for sparing your time. I just hope that so many people in India are interested in these new generation vehicles, and connectivity is an essence of the entire landscape. So as we move forward, just wanted to understand how you see India changing. The floor is open, and we are eager to listen to your rich experience.
Well, thank you very much for that kind of seed into this exciting topic. I'll begin by mentioning that I began my journey with the electrified propulsion systems more than 15 years ago. And the focus at that time globally was using electricity to augment the efficiency of internal combustion. So hybrid began to be popular in a way that was kind of a cost-effective means to reduce liquid fuel consumption. The benefits of electric propulsion began to emerge rather quickly because you had the ability to use electricity as a fuel, which provided a great driving experience, great literally emissions-free transportation alternative. So the industry began to focus on how to make electric propulsion affordable. And this, began most strongly in Japan, U.S. and Europe followed. China, of course, set policies and industrial plans to be able to move the technology forward in a big way. And so now here we are in 2020, almost the end of the year, and we're looking at what the industry is going to do in the future. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that. And I'd like to comment that it's very popular to associate electric vehicles and connectivity. And I think that that's a wonderful connection because we have the ability to optimize and to really improve customers' adoption rate and the customer experience of electric vehicles and electric propulsion by combining it with this idea of a connected car. So the connected car discussion is, always associated with electric vehicle and new technologies, and I think that's for a really good reason. And I would like to share some specifics, but I'd first like to kind of talk about, what does connected car mean? And it's interesting because here in India, I noticed that there are some cars that say internet inside, and that's very interesting. That this is, a badge that's in, pretty big letters on the car. And so this is a very strong advocacy of, some type of connectivity. And I think that, maybe to have a hotspot or be able to have your, kids watching some kind of show while you're on the road. It's exciting, but connected is a lot more than that. And I put it into three general categories. One is information. Second is advice. And then the third is, and the big one is opportunity. So we are now here in the beginning stages of having electric propulsion become popular in India. We're going to create an environment where electric fuel becomes the fuel of choice for fleets and for consumers across the country, because ultimately they're after convenience, they're after affordability, and they're after products that can be assured to give them the lowest per kilometer cost. So we've seen in the global industry and even here in India some kind of very premium vehicles, pretty expensive, cutting edge electric propulsion products. But we really think that ultimately adoption is going to come not through Tesla cost cars, but they're going to come through products that are, I'll say, more affordable, and then they're practical because of this so-called connectivity. And so here at Mahindra Electric Mobility, we have the first electric mobility focused tool called NeMo, which is really designed to optimize the electric vehicle user experience, both for fleets as well as for consumers. So I hope we have a chance to talk about that a little bit, because we've taken this notion of using electricity and electrified propulsion systems to save liquid fuel all the way forward to saying we can build here in India products and services and infrastructure that will ultimately make electricity be the fuel of choice for a wide range of consumers throughout the country. I think that we're going to make that happen, and we're making the steps in that direction right now.
Martin, what does connected mean in India's context? Especially that we have a couple of vehicles that now claim that they are connected and they are backed by the telecom infrastructure. What does the term connected mean in India, and how do you see that changing and influencing automotive OEMs going forward?
I'll share with you what I've observed, because in some cases, connected means, I take my internet with me and I have some ability to interact, whether it's by entertainment or email from the confines of my car. But I want to go a step further, and I want to talk about what connectivity means for the user of the vehicle. And I'm going to start with something very simple, information. I notice that a lot of tires, vehicle tires in India aren't fully filled to the proper pressure. I noticed this on the road. And if your car could tell you, put air in your tires, this is information that would be extremely useful. You cannot imagine how many more kilometers you can go on a given fill, whether it's electricity or of liquid fuel, if you have proper air pressure. So I think that's the information category. From an advice point of view, what if we had a case where a fleet operator of electric vehicles could get notified in advance that based on the weather, it's going to be very warm and there may be some additional energy usage for cabin cooling. So they may want to make a few adjustments to their routes or to their fleets or to their charging patterns in order to accommodate the climate. So this would be advice that you could give proactively so that the planners of vehicle routes could be more efficient at making sure vehicles are ready to serve customers, in this case, based on the dynamics of weather, climate, or other factors. And then finally, the biggest area, and this is where India is going to see a huge advantage, is what I call opportunity. And I'll make a very specific example that if we collect information from one of our fleets, and NeMo serves several fleet customers, we might study their routes and study their usage patterns. And we might determine that if the vehicle could be recharged, at least partially, at, say, a drop-off point where there's some kind of delivery happening on a regular basis, there could be an expansion of that vehicle's operating range. So we might recommend to the customer, advocate to find 2 charging stations at this particular depot or other stopping point. And if you can pick up some electric fuel, I'll say charge, then you're going to be able to use that vehicle to increase the operating range, to provide more trips, to literally do more. So it would be an opportunity to leverage your existing assets and do more for your customers. So that's one kind of opportunity. And then the other kind of opportunity is we can provide the kinds of updates to vehicles by watching specific customer behaviors and watching fleet behaviors that can improve the utility of the vehicle. And it happens on my phone. I get updates, and in most cases, those updates are improvements. Sometimes they're really nice. We want that same anticipation to come from consumers of our products, where they look forward to better and better vehicle performance, more tailorized options for their particular usage patterns. And we are able to do that through a combination of telematics, intelligence, and the right relationship with the customer to optimize their experience with electric vehicle. So I think that's what the Indian consumer can expect, is that the day they buy their car is the beginning of an adventure of improvement, where every day their car gets a little more exciting, a little better, and has a little more performance to meet their needs specifically through the connected car infrastructure.
Martin, as we go ahead, do you see vehicles becoming more simpler as we embrace new technology? Electric vehicles are there, hybrids are, and possibly we'll also be looking at fuel cells and other new generation energy solutions. Do you see connected vehicles getting much more simpler for customers, for people usage, or there would be more upgrades and more technology changes that will evolve these vehicles into a next league? Where do you see things changing, especially for electric mobility and connected vehicles in India?
Well, Chanchal, it's very interesting you say that. There have been some pretty popular kind of speeches and TED Talks where some smart people have mentioned the fact that electric propulsion is so much simpler than internal combustion, because an internal combustion engine has hundreds of moving parts and an electric vehicle has very few. So some of these people have been pundits about the fact that anybody can do an EV, and it's pretty soon going to become a very commodity kind of situation. Our experience here in Mahindra Electric Mobility is that we think the frontier of electric propulsion is controls. So controls to me means actuators, algorithms, and software. So you've seen other companies as well talk about their journey into software. Well, we see our business as delivering functions, and frankly, these functions are going to be very complex. They already are complex, and they're going to be more complex from the engineering point of view, specifically to make the customer experience more simple. And an example would be a customer expects to plug in and charge. It's very simple. Plug the car in and it charges. We intend to make that feature very rugged and very robust against all kinds of unexpected events, whether they're variations in the grid supply, whether it's weather related, whether it has to do with any kind of damage to the equipment or anything that is unusual. So we build very powerful algorithms to ensure that the customer experience is seamless. So to answer your question, my view is that electric propulsion, electric vehicles are actually quite complex in the function area. The purpose is not to confuse the customer, but actually to make the customer's life more simple and make that happen seamlessly. We talk about learning. There's a chance where we would have, for example, a display screen, and the customer, by their behavior, they only use a certain number of buttons. Why wouldn't we automatically reconfigure that so that the buttons they use are there, and then the ones that they may need to use periodically are someplace else? And I'm just using an example where we take the customer's behavior, we make some changes to make the customer experience easier and better. So I think that this is going to appeal to this market, to these customers right here in India that don't want to be scientists to enjoy electric cars, and they want to have the confidence that these products are going to work not just great, but better every day and work better for them. And I'd like to make one other comment. You mentioned fuel cell technology. The hydrogen economy is getting quite a bit of attention. Here in India, there is some idea that the hydrogen economy could really liberate India in terms of both dependency on fuel from abroad, as well as an environmental positive direction. Hydrogen propulsion through a fuel cell is basically an electric vehicle with an onboard source of electricity. So we believe that polishing and enhancing and improving the electric propulsion ecosystem in India, from the base suppliers up through in-house production, up to the customer experience, and all the work we do here on hardware, software, and quality are going to directly support the hydrogen economy as well. So we think that's going to be a real exciting expansion of opportunities for electric propulsion and connected vehicles.
Martin, I have to ask you this question because as an inquisitive journalist, I always see that electric vehicles charging is a major issue right now, but someday we will have wireless charging. It may be a very hypothetical question, but if wireless charging happens in mobile, the next generation of electric vehicles, possibly many years down the line, will see wireless charging. Do you see connectivity, connected vehicles, the essence of the way technology will change, evolve, and they will make mobility much more convenient to people?
Well, a couple of things about so-called wireless charging. The technology has been in the market. So the original first mass-produced electric vehicle called the EV1 actually had an inductive charging system. So you dropped this kind of looked like we called a puck into a slot, and there was no connectivity. So that was already technology, but the main challenge of inductive charging, we call this so-called wireless charging, inductive charging, there is an efficiency loss. And today, just from a technology point of view, the core magnetics around 5%. With your phone, it just doesn't matter. You can afford it. But with electricity, people want to maximize their economics and minimize their cost per kilometer. They really don't want to pay a 5% penalty on loss of energy through an inductive charging system. So that's one aspect. Another aspect continues to be a cool thing where we would talk about having inductors into the road surface. And this has been demonstrated, and there's a couple of pilot projects where you drive your vehicle and you're actually charging as you're driving through this invisible energy coming out of the road. And it's a very exciting concept. So I see these technologies continually being advocated and developed. A lot of startups are doing this work. We talk to these people all the time, looking for the way to serve the customer better. So I think that these very, very advanced technologies may find their way into the industry, and we'll see when they become cost effective and then they give the consumer what they want.
Coming back to India, you have developed something like NEMO. Do you see NEMO going beyond your regular customers, clients, and industry as a whole, the automotive industry and your different peers also benefit from concepts like NEMO, and connected vehicles become much more wider in Indian automotive market, and NEMO could also be utilized by other players?
Well, I appreciate you asking about NEMO. It was and is India's first electric mobility platform. And we developed this to be beyond any limits of products we make today. We think this can be embraced by anyone who wants to take advantage of the benefits of electrification. So really, it's a system that provides shared, connected, and electric services to anyone. And we have some pretty satisfied customers, and we're going to develop this further and further. But let me mention a few of the specific things that NEMO does. It addresses some of the core issues that people have when they think about electric vehicles, like range anxiety. Am I going to end up being stuck? It talks about battery performance. What is my battery condition? Is my battery healthy? Talks about vehicle performance. Is the vehicle performing as intended? Is it doing the things that it's supposed to do? So we think that this tool can be used by anyone who's interested, but it also really has been effective to seamlessly manage fleets of EVs. And this is where we have seen some of the best value, where we have large customer base using this to look at the entire fleet. So when it comes to trip planning, when it comes to maintenance, when it comes to predictive health, when it comes to patterns of usage, even down to remote car control. So we could geofence a car, we can turn a car off if there's a concern. Monitor vehicle range, make sure these cars are getting the range they want, because range of a vehicle is certainly dependent on the technology, but it also is influenced by driver behavior. So by giving feedback to fleets and being able to even score drivers against the given pattern, who's doing the best, give an award to the most efficient driver. It's free and it's great. So NEMO has been a wonderful experience for us to not only support the customer, but frankly, to learn. We look at this data and we learn all the time about what our products do, and we roll that into future products. Hey, now we know 230 million plus e-kilometers have been recorded right here in India we understand climates, we understand patterns, we understand how people can optimize. We have been giving an award every week to our owners of our products who we find are doing extraordinary things, like almost 300 kilometers driven in a single day on a vehicle that nominally would have 140 kilometers of range. How does the customer do that? Well, they're smart about when they charge and where they go, and they're able to do this, and they drive right. So we're able to use our product to kind of, identify and acknowledge extraordinary behavior and performance of the people. And we think that's really a winning solution.
How do you see connected vehicles getting their due share when shared mobility, the ecosystem develops?
Well, we already see the so-called shared vehicle ecosystem develop through some of the shared car services today. So the question comes to me that says, well, what is different? What is unique about electrification that makes shared mobility extra value? And really what it does is it comes back to the things we mentioned before, where when you do trip planning, when you do vehicle performance evaluation, where you give drivers feedback in terms of maximizing the amount of energy on board to get the most range, all of these are going to feed into making vehicles perform better in the environment, and that's going to give more passenger kilometer alternatives. So it's easy to imagine where we have an electric vehicle with a known performance boundary. We have people that have chosen to be part of a electric mobility, shared mobility platform, and they're able to share information together, to be able to see where vehicles are, where they can share rides, where they can take advantage of the electric vehicles that are already on the road, either fleets or private, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's a business dedicated to this. We think that connecting people with connected cars who are passionate about electricity as a fuel is going to change everything. And it's going to change, our environment. It's going to change the type of noise we hear in an urban environment. And ultimately, it's going to allow us to move to electricity as a fuel in a much bigger way.
Okay.
Not to mention the lower cost of operation. Lower cost of operation is going to, make this the winning equation. And that's, electricity as a fuel is a lower cost per kilometer today. Combine that with maintenance, combine that with efficiencies, it's going to be the choice.
India, basically, three-wheelers are the largest chunk of electric vehicles. But as we move ahead, personal vehicles as well as two-wheelers will gain more acceptance, and there is a higher chance because the affordability levels are much more there. So connected vehicles will be a bigger interface between the customers, the people, and the machines. How do you see connected playing a bigger role between the interface between humans and machines as we move ahead?
Well, I think we had some discussion about it already, and I think that there's going to be this kind of new idea about what my vehicle does for me. And whether it's a two-wheeler, whether it's a four-wheeler, I don't buy a product and it sits in my garage, and every time I drive it, it gets a little more worn out. I think it's going to come to a point where people buy the vehicle with the anticipation that it's going to improve, not just in its performance, where we find, for example, ways to optimize battery controls. We do updates to improve range and in time, but people's own customized experience. And this will give people the confidence that they can do whatever they want without the concerns of having all the traditional worries about range anxiety as such. So I'll give an example that if someone has a commute and they're counting on their vehicle to do this commute, and they are a little concerned, maybe electric car could be maybe a little bit of a range concern, then their car can teach them not only where to charge, but how to drive to optimize the performance. Put in that goal that they have. What is their goal? What are they trying to accomplish? Are they trying to do a relaxed drive with maximum cabin comfort, with really no concerns about range? Or are they pushing the range today, that they really want to get this distance and get back home without having to recharge? We can provide that customized experience through their own desires, through our knowledge of what their product can do and the connected knowledge of what is out there in terms of charge infrastructure. So why not have a customized experience? And why not wake up and decide, hey, today, this is what I want to do, and my car tells me exactly how to do it. So that's the relationship we want to have, that the car is an enabler, and it's a customizable tool that gives people what they want to do, what they need to do that day, the next day, and it lives, in a world that's responsive to their needs. So that's kind of a big picture, but there's no reason why we shouldn't expect that from our vehicles. And that's exactly what we're working on here through NEMO and through our electrification products at Mahindra Electric Mobility.
What are the key challenges you see in Indian context, the ecosystem that the government and is developing, and how do you see we overcoming these challenges?
Okay. Well, first of all, we've enjoyed a good policy of the promotion of EV from my point of view. The FAME and FAME 2 have been positive. So we'd like to see more, but we think it's really in the right direction. The two areas that I think we can see a lot of opportunity for improvement. First is the ecosystem from raw material to the final customer experience. So today we see some electrification products that are basically purchased parts from China that are kind of cobbled together here. And we want to evolve that into the point where we make quality products from raw materials through processing to final products to the customer experience that is all right here in India. So in our company, we want to buy quality products from electronic parts, from castings, from other kinds of devices. And then we make circuit boards, we make battery modules, battery packs, electric motors, transmissions, DC-DCs, chargers, all of this in-house. And the second challenge, after we develop a robust and a very cost-effective supply of raw materials and subcomponents, is to do everything with quality. And the reason that quality matters is two. One is the rest of the world has a good quality story to tell. We need to tell the same story, and we need to do it with proof. The second is that if we here at Mahindra Electric, or if our colleagues in other companies launch products that are inferior in quality, we will do a disservice to the country and to the electric mobility inertia. By today we see positive attitude, we see customers embracing this, but if we don't do this with quality, we're going to end up damaging the reputation of electric vehicles. So those focus points are really what we do here every day. Strong, robust local supply with cost-effective parts and materials, and then doing the in-house manufacturing and creating the products with quality. And that way customers say, my first experience with electric vehicle was great. And we want to drive that home because frankly, I saw in China where the rush to make electric vehicles created a large number of products that were frankly inferior. And so there was a bit of a tepid response to these products because people said, compared to my first car that was an internal combustion car, this electric car didn't stand up. It didn't measure up to the mark. So those are the key challenges I see, and we're working on them every day. And our partners, our suppliers, our distributors, everyone is in the same direction. We're all trying to make that reality happen here in India.
Thank you so much for your rich, varied experience. On behalf of ET Auto, I thank you a lot. That brings me to my last question. You have a varied experience across US, China, Japan, and other countries. Do you see India leapfrogging into the connected vehicle space, the electric vehicle, new generation energy solutions, and gaining more space with their global peers?
I like the word you use, leapfrog. And I've heard it a lot, frankly, especially in China. People would talk about, we're going to just jump over everyone and skip this whole phase of internal combustion development, jump to EVs. This was a kind of a popular idea 15 years ago. I think that where we have the best chance to really excel is in the connected car space. The talent, especially here in Bangalore, and I'm so proud of the NEMO team for what we've done and what we're going to do. That is an area I think we can really excel. I think that if we can establish products in India, in our company here and in other companies that meet global standards in terms of safety and quality and performance, I think that's a great challenge. And I'm going to give respect to the electrification industry globally for being really good. So we have to be really good to be in that league. And that's what we're going to do here at Mahindra Electric Mobility. But in terms of the connected car and the opportunities for information, advice, and opportunity, that is an area, no limits. I think we have the best talent in the world. I believe we're going to be able to truly make revolution in the industry globally. And I look forward to being part of that.
Thank you so much, Martin, for Economic Times Auto. We will have a very rich experience having you as a guest and an expert on connected vehicles and electric mobility. Thank you so much for your time. And I wish you great initiations ahead for Mahindra Electric Mobility Limited and new generation technologies.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it so much. I look forward to our next discussion already.
Okay. Thank you so much. All the best. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.